in a conference. They're an independent team. As long as they do well, they get into the tournament based on almost merit alone, but also the fact that they're pretty nasty. But for New Paltz, I think they're going to go to their strengths, and that's number 19, Nick O'Malley, out of the middle. I mean, he's hitting above 600. That's absurd. I also think we're going to see a lot of number 8, Aaron Kark. Aaron Kark, to some degrees, carried this New Paltz team to a national championship. I mean, he was by far the best player on the floor in every one of New Paltz NCAA tournament matchups. So I think for this New Paltz team, you got to look at O'Malley and Kark, the two of their seniors. They have 7 seniors as well, so I think their seniors are going to try to carry them tonight.
Absolutely, Kevin. Springfield, on the other hand, unlike New Paltz, looks a little different than they did the last time these two teams met in a championship. New Paltz having 7 seniors on their roster. Springfield, the one, that is Johan Musa-Robels. Tell me a little bit about Springfield.
You know, for Springfield, they have 1 senior, and that's Johan Musa-Robels. He's the only one on this roster from the team 3 years ago to win the national championship. And I really think it's going to be the young guys for Springfield. It's going to be the guys like Jared Anderson, like Brendan Brandow, like Liam York. Those are the 3 you have to watch. But also, I think probably the biggest factor is going to be defensively trying to slow this New Paltz team down. You know, their team, their hitting percentage is extremely high. So it's going to rely on the middle blockers, both Topali and Parker. Not only just kick kills every now and then, the middle block is going to have to be there if Springfield wants to win tonight.
Absolutely. Springfield lost their second match of the season to Vanguard out in California. They have not looked back since, and they are currently 7-1. As we are about to begin here at Blake Arena, Springfield, very young. They have 2 very key freshmen in Liam York and Jared Anderson. Brendan Brandow as well, a sophomore.
Yep.
He was named Rookie of the Year last year.
D3 Rookie of the Year, preseason All-American. Jared Anderson came in as a preseason All-American honorable mention without ever playing a match. I mean, that's pretty high praise for someone who's literally never played a match at the collegiate level. But, I mean, I think we've seen it so far this year, Hayden. I mean, there's a reason why the accolades have come.
So far, that has been an accurate assessment of him. As you said, not even playing a match. But he has shown why that was possible. Springfield had Wells come in last Friday night, and first set was kind of back and forth, but Springfield came back late in set number 1.
Yeah, you know,
they then took 2 straight sets.
They stole that first set. They were down 23-20, and they came back, ripped off 5 points in a row to steal it.
Here we go. Dan De La Rosa served, and Matt Lilly. And it is a net violation. From the crowd's response, Kevin, I thought Springfield was going to get the point there, but
and it looked like Charlie Sullivan didn't quite agree with that call either. Looked like it was a very tight, was going to be a tight set for Lilly, but you know, those are the errors that Springfield's going to have to avoid. But you know, another talking point for both teams is going to be the serve, as both teams serve very tough, but also there's a difference between serving tough and being aggressive and just making careless errors. And you can't make too many careless errors in this match.
Lilly serves. New Paltz, great play by Lilly that time. New Paltz sets it. It goes up, unplayable. Ooh, great point that time by New Paltz.
You know, nice dig out right there by Matt Lilly, but also, I mean, Nick O'Malley, that's the guy. He is their number 1 option, and it's kind of a dangerous strategy, though, for New Paltz, having a middle blocker be your number 1 guy. He's not going to be in there for every point. So they're definitely going to be, I could imagine him being set quite a lot while he's in.
Lilly to Anderson. It's played by number 4, Riley Dolan. Kill that time by number 13, Brendan Spulnick. Part of this New Paltz team, Kevin, is they just have so many offensive weapons.
And, you know, I think the big ones are Kark and O'Malley, but if you get guys like Brendan Spolnick going, guys like Riley Dolan going, they're a very dangerous team, because 2 weapons turns into 4 very viable weapons for this New Paltz team.
They take a 3-1 lead as Gaiss serves. Lilly sets up Brandow behind him. It's played that time by number 1, Nolan. Point Springfield.
And not something you're going to see too much of. Nick O'Malley making an attack error. Nico Malley on the year comes in 60 kills on 86 attacks. Just 8 attack errors on the season.
Brandau's serve is a good one. That time, that was Spolnick again.
You know, it looks like they're trying to get Spolnick going early here in this one, Hayden.
Good set that time. I believe that was Gaiss. It was. Spolnick goes back to serve, maintaining their 2-point lead here. It's played by Brosnan. Lily, Anderson. Lily's back to play it. Brosnan gonna set up Liam York. It is immediately blocked that time by a team of Aaron Kark and number 19, Nico Malley. Two great players for New Paltz.
Absolutely, and you know, right there for Brosnan, had no choice but to go with the bump serve, but you gotta think if you're Brosnan, you wanna get that ball higher in the air, give Liam York more time to have a chance to hit it, because it didn't look like York was able to get at the top of his vertical to get that ball.
Spolnick will go back to serve now himself. And that serve is out. An error that time.
Now, one thing I'm interested in, Hayden, is seeing how the Springfield offense tries to get going, because they have 3 points, all 3 of which have come off New Paltz errors. So, I mean, it should be interesting to see how the Springfield team tries to get their offense going if they're not going to get contributions out of their outsides.
Stephen Topoli, an error that time, and that's something you definitely don't want to see if you're Charlie Sullivan, Kevin.
And, you know, it looked like a foot fault on Topoli, and was actually a pretty good serve. He's not the most consistent server for this Pride team, but, you know, it's the little errors like that that are going to kill you when you're playing the #1 team in the country.
O'Malley. Serve now. Brandau, it's going to go into the ceiling. Brosnan over to York. York played O'Malley. Sets number 4, Dolan. They say that one was in.
Looked like it did catch the very back corner, and you know, right now I think the biggest issue for Springfield, they're not receiving serve well at all, and if you're not receiving the serve well, you're going to be out of system. You're going to see Matt Willey unable to serve it to his spots because he's not even getting a chance to touch it.
You have 2 powerhouses going at it tonight, Kevin, and you're going to expect some runs here, but Springfield has not even seen anything near the rhythm that they have had this season. New Paltz gets another point that time. Charlie Sullivan's going to have to call a timeout here, Kevin. You're down 8-3 already in this first set.
Absolutely, and you know, a lot of the errors they're making, New Paltz is a very good team, and we know that coming in, but at the end of the day, a lot of their errors have been unforced errors. They just aren't getting in the right position. They aren't squaring up to the ball. Kind of like in basketball, you want to square up to shoot a basketball. You want to be square to receiving the serve. They're just kind of throwing their hands out, trying to get a piece of the ball, and if you do that, Matt Willey isn't able to get the setup, and it really renders your outsides ineffective because they're not getting chances to hit the ball where they want to.
Very true. Took New Paltz a little bit, but they're going to start to find their groove here. They already have. They've gotten a few points off of Springfield errors, which you cannot get, like you said, against the #1 team.
You know, we've seen the Springfield team struggle with consistency at times. Even last week when they had their bench in against SUNY Poly last Saturday, they lost the first set, but then even when the starters came back in, you would have expected them to come in and dominate. They didn't really dominate. They were tightly contested sets. Their blocks weren't there. Their serve receive really wasn't there, and they let a SUNY Poly team hang around for probably longer than Charlie Sullivan would have liked.
Let's see if this timeout inspired his team. Nico Malley back to serve again now for the Hawks. Get a break that time.
That's now 3 service errors for New Paltz, and all 4 of the prize points again off errors by New Paltz.
Jared Anderson, arguably the best server in this match tonight, gets a chance, and there you go.
And you know, after last weekend, Jared Anderson was leading the entire country in service aces per set. I mean, what he's done as a freshman rivals what anyone's ever done in their career here. And he's only a freshman.
The lefty puts it in play. It's a good serve. However, New Paltz plays it and gets an easy kill that time by John Ronan.
You know, Ronan's another guy that if New Paltz can set him and get him to the spots that they want, he's going to be very effective. But once again, it comes down to the block of Springfield is going to have to be there from guys like Chris Parker and Stephen Topoli if this Pride team wants to win.
Aaron Kark, one of the best on this team, gives a point right back to Springfield.
No, it seems like the last couple points after the timeout, the Pride has seemingly settled down just a bit. You know, that I think what I want to see if I'm a Springfield fan, I want to see them get more of it in a rhythm on offense. You know, get some nice serves over. Try to get Lilly the ball in a place where he can set it comfortably.
Liam York, who has had his woes on serves this season, back to go. And right there, sold too much.
You know, that's been Liam York's, like you said, that's been arguably the biggest kind of fault against him, is that the serve just has not been consistent. When it's been good, it's been nasty. But when it's been bad, it's been really bad. There's really been kind of no middle ground for him.
Began to found it last week, but is still having a tough time. New Paltz serves. Brosnan, it just goes right out. That was Dolan again.
It's a great serve right there by Dolan, but you know, looked like Brosnan just kind of found himself flat-footed a bit on that serve reception.
Springfield looking for any sign of life here. Dolan. Brosnan plays it. Lilly sets. Brandow. And there you go. That's the first pretty much kill by Springfield this match.
And you know, for Springfield, just 1 kill, 2 errors on 6 attacks. For New Paltz, 5 kills and an error on 7 attacks. That's not a winning formula if you're the Pride.
Parker. It's played by Gaiss. And Dolan. It's too much.
And right here, this is the time for Springfield if they want to get back in this first set. I mean, they have the crowd firmly behind them. I mean, the students have done a great job packing Blake tonight. We saw it all around campus. We saw it on social media. They've done a good job turning out for this one tonight.
Parker, it's played after it was yelled out. A battle at the line. It's still in play. And Spolnick, who has been the MVP of this first set, just takes control, gets an easy kill right there.
You know, that's the guy that this New Paltz team needs. They need their other guys. If Kark and O'Malley aren't doing it, the question for them has been, they've won matches, but who else is going to be there to kind of contribute on a consistent basis?
Dan LaRosa to serve for New Paltz. Hits the net, but played by Liam York. Lilly to Anderson. An easy kill for Jared Anderson.
I mean, Jared Anderson rivals anybody in the country and just slowly getting up there for those kills. I mean, that left hand of Jared Anderson is about as dangerous as they come.
Matt Lilly. Played O'Malley. It's blocked by Brandow. Gaiss again. Blocked by Brandow and Topali.
Looked like Topali got a good piece of that one. And, you know, for this Pride team, if they're going to win, they're going to need the blocks. And, you know, Chris Parker, kind of a proven commodity. He was a very key contributor last year, but Stephen Topali and Tom Wollweber, neither guy played all that much last year, so those are the guys that are going to need to do it.
And New Paltz will get the point there after the block goes out of bounds, but
back to serve now for the Hawks, number 3, Matt Gaiss.
Spolnick now 4 for 4 in this first set. I mean, if they've gotten him the ball, he's winning points for New Paltz right now.
Actually, never mind. Gaiss' serve. Johan. Set by Lilly. Brandow. And it goes off Robert Nolan and out.
Brandow back to serve for Springfield.
Brendan Brandow with the serve. Gaiss plays it. An easy kill for O'Malley.
You know, that's what they're going to have to watch, is kind of that big kill out of the middle by O'Malley. I mean, O'Malley is as good in the country as it gets, as kind of coming out of the middle 4 kills.
Spolnick to serve now. Johan plays it. Brandow gonna set York. York, it's played by Nolan. Gaiss. O'Malley with the kill. Seemed like that was out of bounds.
Looks like they said it might have touched the hand of someone.
Could have been a deflection.
Not 100% sure whose hand it touched. Didn't look like anyone was all that close to the ball. unless they caught Brandau's hand in the back row. That's really the only guy who's anywhere near that ball.
Springfield now down by 4 again.
This is the dangerous time for Springfield, though. You can't let this team get too big of a lead because they're too good.
Tough call that time as New Paltz will get another point. Springfield being forced to call another timeout.
You know, right now it seems like every time Springfield is trying to come back, they just can't.
Volleyball Hall of Fame merchandise tent for your official Oregon Classic tournament and Hall of Fame gear. Located under the main scoreboard.
Very possible that it did hit the hand of Brennan Brandau.
You know, Hayden, we're at 16-11 right now, and it feels like every time Springfield's gotten the lead down to 2 or 3, New Paltz has been able to extend it back out, and that's kind of what these good teams do.
Absolutely, Kevin. They've had basically complete control of this first set. The majority of Springfield's points have been errors, but it's nothing that's been too concerning for New Paltz right now.
And you know, for New Paltz right now, Spolnick has 4 kills on 4 attacks, so he's been perfect. And then O'Malley has 3. Kind of surprised we haven't seen Aaron Kark at all. He had 1 attack error, hasn't done anything else after that.
Springfield down 16-11. Back to serve is Brendan Spolnick, the sophomore who has been tremendous in this first set. Springfield looking for pretty much any kind of consistency right now, Kevin.
Yeah,
they've had moments, but can't get a run together.
You know, they just haven't done it consistently.
A very tough play that time. Hits the ceiling, comes back, and is instantly blocked.
That was a pretty good job by Lily right there, just to even be able to set it off the ceiling. But, you know, right there for York, you just have to get it over comfortably. Don't let them have a chance to block it. You can just put it over the block and at least give yourself a chance on the point.
Spolnick to serve. It's a lob. Johan one hand plays it. Brandau up to Anderson. Anderson with a tough play.
That was an impressive play, to put it mildly, by Anderson. I mean, he was not in any type of position to go for the kill, readjusted himself, and got off the block.
Charlie Sullivan makes a substitution. Aston Sissoko back to serve for the Pride.
And Sissoko, he's really been used kind of as that designated server for guys like Topali or Woolweber.
His serve is a little too much.
You know, once again, we see the Pride just every time they get a point, they haven't really been able to go on a run. We've seen New Paltz go on a couple runs, 4-point, 5-point runs, and that's really been the difference in this first set.
O'Malley's going to serve now. Error. Point will go to Springfield.
Serve for Springfield, number 19, Choate Anderson.
Anderson will serve again. Too much.
It was a good attempt on the serve. Just looked like it went just a tad long. Now once again for Springfield, though, it's just not being able to get any type of sustained momentum has really been what's hurt them so far in this first set.
Aaron Kark will serve for New Paltz. Johan plays it. Lily. York with the kill.
York got up there for that one. I mean, we've heard about his impressive athleticism, but at times he's been a little bit. He is a very good volleyball player, but he is a little bit raw when it comes to his ability. You know, he's a guy who with incredible athleticism. It's just kind of about harnessing it and making smart volleyball plays. But you know, each week we've kind of seen him get a little more consistent at doing that.
York. It's played that time by number 18, Rowan. Blocked. Kark put a lot on that. Chris Parker and Brendan Brandau said no.
You know, right here, if this Springfield team is going to make a comeback in the set, it's going to be right now, you know. Kind of surprised, though. Aaron Kark has been ineffective, to put it mildly. No kills and 2 attack errors, and he's their guy alongside O'Malley.
York can't get it over the net that time. New Paltz now only 5 points away from taking this first set, and they hold a 5-point lead on the Pride. Back to serve now is number 4, Riley Dolan. No good. Chris Parker now will serve.
That's now 5 service errors for New Paltz. So they've given away some points to the Springfield team. Now it's up to Springfield if they're going to see if they'll be able to capitalize.
And an ace. Springfield's going to try and feed off this crowd's energy right now. Chris Parker can get some aces here and there, as we just saw. Let's see what he has on his second serve. And it was in. Another ace for Chris Parker.
And, you know, right here, the crowd is starting to get going. You know, they haven't had a whole lot of opportunities to cheer. And, you know, down 20-18, Chris Parker's going well from the service line. I mean, for the first time, we really feel Springfield's crowd getting into it, Hayden.
Absolutely. And Springfield, for the first time, took a little run there, forcing New Paltz to call a timeout.
You know, that's the consistency, though, this team is looking for, trying to serve extremely tough on this New Paltz team. And, you know, New Paltz, one of the things that makes them so tricky, we talked a little bit about it, is their senior leadership. I mean, their whole lineup is seniors with the exception of a couple guys, one of them being Dan LaRosa, and also their other middle, but John Ronan. But, you know, for this team, you have guys like Robert Nolan, Matt Gaiss, 2 guys who they've literally been starters for this team since day one.
Absolutely. They're a deep, deep team. They have 1 first-year player, Kevin, so they have experience for sure, unlike Springfield, who's on the other end of that.
You know, though, this is where someone like Johan Musa-Robles, his leadership is really shown through, because, you know, a lot of their stars for Springfield aren't super loud, super rah-rah type of guys. But you have guys like Johan Musa-Robles who, he's going to go crazy no matter what the score is. He's going to be the guy who kind of ignites, kind of brings energy back. And these are huge points coming up in this first set.
Parker's 3rd straight serve. It's played by Nolan, set up by Gaiss. Spolnick, it goes out. And now New Paltz lead is just 1.
You know, Parker once again doing a great job of serving tough. And, you know, this is where they need him to do that.
Parker again.
For the Hawks, number 21, Matthew Amberg.
You know, now Amberg comes in. He's not a guy who's going to play a whole ton for this New Paltz team, but they need a more defensive-minded guy trying to receive serve, because, you know, you've kind of seen these last few points, the lack of communication has really hurt this New Paltz team.
He's also another senior for this team. Parker will serve now.
That looks like the second foot fault on the Pride this set. You know, I don't think I'd seen one this season up until these last couple.
I have
really
not
this first
as well.
set, but still a great job by Parker to get Springfield back in the set. And this is where now probably need another run like that to try to steal this first set.
Dan LaRosa will serve now for New Paltz. Serve is up. It's played by York. Lilly sets Brandow. Brandow with the kill. Crowd loves it.
Right there, Brandow, you know, looked like an opportunity for him to just destroy the ball. Almost took a little something off, kind of threw off Matt Gaiss, who had the solo block. But Brendan Brandow might be one of the hardest guys to solo block in the entire country. I mean, he was Rookie of the Year last year, preseason All-American.
Oh, a great play by Matt Lilly. Matt Lilly with a lob serve. Barely looked like it was going to get over, Kevin. Robert Nolan played it, probably shouldn't have. That was Matthew Gaiss who made a diving effort to play it, and it goes out, and we are tied.
And, you know, looked like that ball might have been going out, as you said, but, you know, Pride won't complain. That one goes out, but, you know, all of a sudden the energy is back in Blake Arena, and this is a point now with Matt Gaiss going back to serve, the Pride serve reception has to be good.
And Kevin, this is just like we saw last Friday night against Wells. Tough first set that the Pride were down in, and they staged a late comeback. We'll see how this one turns out as Matthew Gaiss will serve for New Paltz. He's also a senior. York plays it. Lily sets Brandow with the kill.
You know, right now, every time Springfield's getting a kill, every time something goes Springfield's way, this might be the loudest I've heard Blake pretty much since opening night for men's basketball when they played Western New England. I mean, the crowd is into it, and I mean, you couldn't ask for a better atmosphere for 1 versus 2.
Brandow, hard serve. Spolnick tries to kill. Gaiss sets O'Malley. Lily. Johan slows it down. Anderson. What a play. Blake Arena is well and alive, Kevin.
You know, now up 23-22, Springfield has come out of nowhere pretty much, and you see guys like Matt Lilly fired up. I mean, for Matt Lilly, this is his first test. They haven't seen an opponent of this quality. You know, Wells is a very good team, but at the same time, they have not faced the quality of opponent of New Paltz yet, and you know, they got down early, but they're really answering the bell right now.
Absolutely true, Kevin. They take the first lead they have had this entire set, and it just so happens to come with 2 points needed to take the set.
Absolutely, and you know, it's very similar to what we saw last Friday. Last Friday was even a little more extreme. They were down 23-20. Matt Lilly went behind the service line, and it seemed like Wells, who had been so accustomed to seeing these extremely hard serves, couldn't handle the float serve from Lilly, and all of a sudden, before you even knew it, Springfield had taken the first set. Now Springfield's in a good position if they can get some consistent serving. If they come back and steal this first set, all of the momentum has swayed, and we know volleyball is a sport where momentum plays a huge role.
Absolutely. As you said, Kevin, this is Matt Lilly's first test. So far, so good. We did see that one error on the serve, but
you know, Matt Lilly, though, he was part of the reason why they were, both him and Parker, the juniors, were a big part of the reason why the Pride were able to get back into it from behind the service line.
Brandow's back to serve now for the Pride. Played by Spolnick. Gaiss sets up Spolnick. Matt Lilly with a great play. That goes out. We are tied at 23.
You know, great effort right there by Lilly, but you know, Spolnick's really been the guy right now. Spolnick and O'Malley, they're living up to their billing, and you know, New Paltz needed someone other than O'Malley and Clark. Spolnick's answering.
Spolnick's serve is an error. Springfield takes a 1-point lead, and this is set point, Kevin.
You know,
Asin Sissoko is going to come in here.
You know, this is a huge spot for Springfield. You know, this is probably as loud as I've heard Blake Arena in quite some time, and I mean, Sissoko couldn't ask for a bigger or better spot to be in.
Blake Arena could erupt at any second. His serve. Blake Arena goes crazy.
Unbelievable. First set from Springfield. Look down and out, down 20-16. They come back and win this first set 25-23. Might be one of the most impressive first sets we've seen from Springfield all year.
Kevin, I'll tell you one thing. Last Friday against Wells, you could say it was the same scenario. However, in my personal opinion, it seemed like Springfield was more in it last Friday night in that first set. Kevin, this first set, Springfield had nothing. They were getting points off errors. They couldn't put together a point and then a serve and to get another point, and then they come all the way back, you know, to beat them in the first set by 2 points.
You know, Springfield was down 17-11 in this first set. From that point, they would outscore New Paltz 14-6. I mean, you know, whatever was said during that second Charlie Sullivan timeout, it flipped the switch, but we need a break from that after that crazy first set. We'll be back in about 2 minutes for set number 2 here in Blake Arena.
We are back here at Blake Arena for set number 2 after an incredible set number 1 where New Paltz dominated, more specifically Brendan Spolnick, and then Springfield said, we're going to take it. And they win set number 1. We'll get ready for set number 2. Kevin, what'd you like in that first set from both teams?
You know, I thought for New Paltz, they're the Hawks, so I'm going to use this reference. Probably going to get people are going to be mad because it's kind of a dad joke. They literally came out flying, no pun intended. Like they were doing no wrong. The only thing they did wrong early was the service errors. However, you know, as the set went on, Springfield's serving got tougher. Their middle block got tougher, and when Springfield started serving tough, they were getting more opportunities. And when you give guys like Brennan Brandow, Jared Anderson opportunities, they're going to make good more often than not.
Serving for Springfield is number 18, Chris Parker.
Chris Parker will now serve for Springfield as we get set number 2 underway. Parker's set is played by number 21, Ambers. Ambers with a hard attack, and it is blocked.
And right there, Springfield blocked did pretty much everything right except getting the actual block. You know, they had the 3 guys stacked up on that side, and you could see Charlie Sullivan on the sidelines. Really thought his team had a good chance to steal a point right there.
Matthew Gaiss back to serve, the setter. It's played by Brandow, going to be set by Lilly. Anderson, and a kill by Anderson. An attempt to play it by Matthew Gaiss, but no can do.
You know, the ceiling plays effects in this match. I mean, you know, we see it both in women's and men's volleyball. The ceiling can be an opponent's worst nightmare.
Gaiss to Ambers. It's blocked. Anderson with a great one-handed play to get it over the net. Gaiss. Johan plays it, probably shouldn't have touched it. And that is Aaron Kark's first kill, I believe, Kevin.
It is. You know, it's kind of an uncharacteristic error from Johan, who's really had a great start to his senior season so far. But, you know, it's one those types of errors that could hurt in the long run if you're Springfield.
Brandow plays it. And Springfield will get the point. New Paltz does not agree.
Yeah, and assistant coach Tony Bonilla not too pleased with that one. And something I think is actually really cool for this New Paltz team is that Tony Bonilla, their assistant coach, his son, who was a senior last year, an unbelievable outside for them. One of the key guys that they lost, but you know, Tony Bonilla, one of the most respected assistant volleyball coaches in the whole country.
That serve was a hard one. Springfield's going to end up with the point.
You know, Spolnick might be feeling that one a little later, but then, you know, the ball came to the net, and the combination of Topali and York did a good job of finishing that one off.
Brandau's booming serve is a kill. Knocked Amberge over.
You know, kind of the polar opposite of what happened in that first set. Springfield's trying to get the momentum going early, but, you know, for Springfield, I think it's just about being able to maintain the strong start to this set.
Brandau serve again. Lily can't make a play on it.
You know, and O'Malley seems to be that guy for New Paltz. They kind of went away from him even at the end of that first set. He was in, but for some reason they just did not set him all that much. He seems to be kind of their go-to guy to kind of end the run if they have to.
O'Malley's going to serve. Johan plays it. Lily the set to Liam York. However, it did not get deflected like it looked like. And that one is out of bounds.
Right there for York. Looked like he tried to do a little too much, tried to avoid the block, but one thing Charlie Sullivan doesn't mind doing really is having kills go off the block, because, you know, that almost affects the defenders differently because they're not expecting balls off the hand every time.
O'Malley. Tough play. Brandau played it. Johan screamed out.
Yeah, it looked like that one might have been going long, but this is what we talked about in the open, that volleyball is a game of runs, and both teams showed that in the first set. For Springfield now, they're going to have to try to stop this run from O'Malley.
Springfield looked like they had control of the second set. New Paltz came back. Now they have the lead. O'Malley serve. And they get a deflection. Liam York with the kill.
Looked like that ball might have been off the fingertips. Was definitely close, and, you know, when you're sitting up here, it's so hard to tell.
Aston Sissoko, who clinched that last set on an ace, is now back to serve as we are knotted at 5 here in set number 2. Didn't really get the contact he wanted on that ball, as
looked like
it'll hit the net.
Looked like he was trying to take a little bit off right there. You know, he's someone who typically comes in with a very hard serves. Maybe trying to catch the New Paltz defense kind of off balance a little bit.
Aaron Kark.
Surprised we haven't seen for New Paltz, heard the name Aaron Kark more. It seems like they've been trying to feed Spolnick, and Kark has really been pretty much ineffective in this match.
His serve goes over the net. Jared Anderson with a hard kill. Kevin, Matthew Amberge has been taking a beating in the back row.
You know, that's what he's in. That's what he's in for, to try to dig out balls, and he's actually done a pretty decent job. But sometimes the power of Jared Anderson, guys like Brandau, are just too much. But while the power is a good thing, you also see it be a bad thing when it comes to, you know, maybe putting a little too much on the serve, trying to go for it. You know, you want to be aggressive, but you also want to be effective.
Riley Dolan back to serve. Brandau plays it. Lily. Anderson with the soft touch. Played by Amberge. Gaiss now. Instantly blocked by Chris Parker. Liam York now back to serve for the Pride, the first year. We're all knotted at 7. Very even set so far. His serve is a good one. And again, it goes off Matthew Amberge and right into the crowd.
And, you know, we talked about the inconsistency of Liam York, but right there, a very nice serve. Looked like number 21, Matthew Amberge, just wasn't expecting it, and he's going to be replaced.
Let's see if he can do it again.
You know, Amberge actually didn't do that bad of a job to end that first set for New Paltz. He was actually doing a pretty good job. It was just Springfield was playing a little better. But in this set, he's really taking a beating from the Springfield team.
Played by Dolan. Anderson tries to make a dangerous play. Cannot.
Back and forth we go in this second set. You got to expect this match, this trend to continue. I mean, first set, Springfield took it by 2, 25-23. I mean, it's what you get when you get number 1 versus number 2, Hayden.
Dan LaRosa to serve now. Played by York. Lily sets Brandow. It's blocked. What a play by Johan. Lily plays it. Johan has to get it over. He does.
Great play by Johan right there.
Gaiss.
Then O'Malley is blocked.
It's blocked and then goes right into the crowd. Crowd loves it.
And, for all the loud reaction, Springfield taking that first set to that block right there. I mean, that was an unbelievable play. Johan kept it alive, and the crowd loves Johan. I mean, since day one, he's literally been a crowd favorite, and something's never changed over the course of 4 years.
Parker's serve. It's played. Parker with a great play, one-handed. Springfield really getting great plays because they are making smart plays.
Right there, Chris Parker, the middle blocker with the unreal dig out of the back row. I don't know if more than 1 or 2 times you're ever going to see that in an entire season, an entire career for Chris Parker. Unbelievable play by Parker.
Parker looks for the kill. It hits Spolnick. And then Kark finally gets a really good kill for him. It goes right off the hands of Liam York and into the ground.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Matt Gaiss.
Matt Gaiss back to serve for New Paltz.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Matt Gaiss try setting Kark a little more, try to get Kark going a bit in this match, because you got to think New Paltz is going to need his contributions.
Grace's serve. Brandow just goes right over. We're tied at 10.
This is what we've gotten, though, back and forth. Every time it looks like one team's going to kind of take a bigger advantage, the other team comes right back. And, I mean, it's kind of the nature of of the game of volleyball.
Matthew Gaiss, played by Brandow. Lily going to set Brandow. His a tackle too much. And New Paltz is going to take a lead here, Kevin. 11-10.
Last time they were in the lead was 6-5. Springfield was able to fight back, have a couple impressive blocks, but New Paltz, you don't earn that number 1 ranking for no reason. I mean, a team that has as many quality seniors as they do, I mean, that's why they're number 1 in the country.
Matthew Gaiss. Lily gets in a battle at the line. At the net, excuse me.
Matt Lilly, I mean, he won that battle against not 1, 2 blockers from New Paltz. I mean, like he had a little tap to the bicep after that one, getting the crowd fired up.
The slap serve. Kark, played by Johan, set by Lily. Anderson, but it's blocked.
Looked like Anderson. I don't even know if that got the block. It looked like it might have been just straight into the net. It looked like he wasn't in great position. Kind of like very similar to Kark on the other side. Got a decent setup, just wasn't in a great position to attack.
Spolnick back to serve. Brandow plays it. Lily sets Brandow behind him. Easy kill. However, still in play off Dolan. Johan, Lily, still in play. Spolnick, Gaiss goes off of Anderson into Pauly.
And, right there, Spolnick with 2 very impressive dig-outs from the back row. And, this is the first real sign of danger for Springfield, the first time they've been down by more than a point in this set.
New Paltz takes the 2-point lead here. It's 13-11. Spolnick back to serve again. Brandow plays it. Lily to Pauly. Kark. O'Malley, great dig by Johan. To Pauly, backhanded. Great, Nolan hits it into the crowd.
Stephen Dopali,
the reverse.
That takes unbelievable skill just to go for a kill facing the normal way. A little behind the back, a little like kind of behind the head, I guess.
Brandau hits the net off of a hard serve.
Now 14-12. This is a very similar spot to where Springfield found themselves in the first set. You know, they had been able to draw it close, and then New Paltz was able to extend it out before Springfield made an unbelievable run to end the set.
This is Nico O'Malley from East Meadow, New York. Just barely gets it under Johan, and they get another point.
Timeout, Springfield.
Springfield being forced to timeout. They are down 3, Kevin, which is the first time in this set, but they're in better shape than the last set.
That's a good sign, good timeout by head coach Charlie Sullivan. And, you know, Charlie Sullivan, I feel like he has a very good grip on when to call timeouts. You know, sometimes you see coaches who might let their team get too far down. One of the things that Charlie Sullivan does such a good job of knowing when the momentum really starts to shift, and that was a very smart timeout right there. You know, you can kind of feel New Paltz taking over a bit. It's time to calm down the boys.
Seems a lot more even than the first set, but New Paltz grabbing quite a few points in these last few rallies. Back to serve now for New Paltz is Nico O'Malley, 6'7". Nico O'Malley. The serve is up, hits the net, but is in play. Johan, Lilly, and Anderson gets a kill that time.
Good kill by Anderson. Used the block extremely effectively. And, you know, that for New Paltz right there, looked like he had that, probably helped Springfield that serve hit the net. Looked like it was a pretty hard serve, but slowed down by the net, and Johan was able to handle it pretty easily.
Yeah, the net was used as a speed bump there. Sissoko, serve is played by Dolan. Gaiss gonna set Kark. It's played. Brandau hits the net.
You know, right there for Brandau. Looked like he was going for it, and he just was unable to get enough. Kind of in an awkward position for him.
Aaron Kark back to serve for New Paltz. Johan plays it. Lilly sets York. Springfield gets the point.
Looked like that did get a piece of one of the blockers, possibly number 18, John Ronan for New Paltz.
Jared Anderson back to serve now for the Pride. It's played, I believe that was by Dolan. Gaiss goes off. Johan. New Paltz hangs on to their 3-point lead.
You know, New Paltz is doing a good job. One of the things that really hurt them last set was they got the big lead, but then they couldn't maintain it. This time they're doing a good job not letting Springfield get on any type of run, but as we saw, this is around the time Springfield went on their big run in the first set.
Riley Dolan. Lob serve. Perfectly placed. Now Springfield down 4.
And now this is the dangerous time for Springfield, down 4. This is even more similar to the first set now. You know, New Paltz struggled to start, but they've done a really good job of picking up their level of play in this second set.
Serve played by Johan. Lilly. Brandau. It's played that time by Nolan. And a net violation will give Springfield a point.
Springfield a bit fortunate right there. Looked like New Paltz is going to have a chance to go for the kill right there, but kind of fortunate. It looked like it might have been Ronan who hit the net trying to block Parker's overpass kill attempt.
Liam York back to serve for the Pride. Serve is in. New Paltz lead cut down to 2.
New Paltz didn't look like anyone thought it was going in, but it looked like it did appear to catch the corner. And I mean, the serve landed right in front of the referee on that side, so hard to imagine that he would miss a call right in front of his eyes.
York to serve again. It's played by Dolan. York plays it. Lilly sets Anderson. Goes off Dolan. Kark hits it over.
Great play by Kark right there just to save it.
Anderson with a hard kill.
Now right there, the Pride needed a kill from Anderson, and they got it. Cut this lead to 1, and I mean, this set is still very much up for grabs, Hayden.
Liam York will serve now for the Pride.
Coming for the Pride, number 5, Brian Stewart.
York serve is up, played by Roland. Net violation on New Paltz. Point goes to Springfield.
Ronan with another net violation, and I mean, that's kind of a careless error right there. He had a lot of room at the net. Didn't look like he almost didn't know where he was at the time that he tried to go for the kill, and all of a sudden, we see Springfield has come right back, tied it at 18, and I mean, we're getting our money's worth here. For the students who came in, paid a single dollar, are probably going to see the best match you're going to see in Blake Arena tonight.
Never stop learning. High school, college, juniors, or anyone looking to know more should attend the Morgan classes.
As New Paltz will take a timeout here in set number 2.
Led by the coaches of the tournament teams. Sign up at the Hall of Fame tent or online at
Hayden, something I'm very excited for at the end of the second set, in between sets 2 and 3, we're going to have our man Kevin Gaiss in the crowd with Christian Easy and Eric Bellier talk about the story of the deer. I don't personally know it, so I'm very interested to hear how did that happen, what's the story of it, because it's been here since I got here, so I kind of want to know. I'm interested. I think everyone watching should want to know too.
It's going to be very interesting, and our man Kevin Gaiss is on it. That is in between sets after this one. Stay with us for that. But for now, we are tied at 18 coming out of the New Paltz timeout.
I think this has been the ultimate set of kind of runs. We've seen Springfield early, New Paltz kind of pick it up in this kind of middle part of the set, but then all of a sudden a couple New Paltz errors, Springfield's team to find their footing a bit. I mean, 18-18, this should be an exciting finish.
Absolutely. Liam York to serve now. Error that time.
Right there for York. Looked like he had a pretty good serve, just couldn't get it over the tape of the net. And I mean, he's able to get that one over. That would have been a very tough serve to receive, as you're expecting the serve come clean over. When it hits the net, all of a sudden everyone's adjusting to that ball served.
La Rosa. Serve played by Johan. Lilly sets it. Brandow, one-handed play by Kark. Lilly, Anderson, too much. New Paltz now has a 2-point lead again out of the timeout.
Yeah, right there. Anderson had not something you're going to see him do often. He had a pretty clean attempt at the kill, and he just straight up missed it. Also, credit to Kark right there with an unbelievable save to keep that point alive.
La Rosa to serve again. Johan plays it. Lilly. Chris Parker with a hard serve, and he'll go back to serve.
That's the first time they've called Chris Parker's name this evening. And I mean, if you're Parker, you know on a team with guys like Anderson, Brandau, York, your opportunities are probably going to be fewer and far between for the kills, but you know, he's constantly been ready, and he's also done a pretty good job blocking at the net, even if it's just forcing New Paltz into errors.
Parker can't get the serve over. New Paltz extends their lead to 2.
Back to serve now for the Hawks is number 3, Matt Gaiss.
Matt Gaiss will serve for New Paltz. York, Lily, it's going to go over. Tough play for Springfield.
Right there, looked like Liam York probably would have been better off not playing that one. Looked like it had a chance to be going out, but you know, he tried to get a little over aggressive and it led to that very easy put away. Now New Paltz just 3 points away from winning the second set.
Matthew Gaiss, Brandau, Lily, Anderson, hard kill. It almost hits our man Kevin Gaiss in the crowd.
You know, maybe Jared Anderson isn't a fan of the deer. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to, maybe he just does not want to know the story. You know, now for Springfield, 22-20, this is where you need the serves to be good, but this is where you need to really step up the intensity that they really haven't had for parts of the set.
Nolan plays it. Springfield gets the point.
And it looked like on that point right there, Matt Gaiss was trying to go to Nick O'Malley, and it looked like as O'Malley went up, it looked like O'Malley was going to try to go for the kill out of the middle, and he just kind of missed it.
It's played this time. Gaiss with the set. Johan tries to dig, cannot get it.
O'Malley makes up for his error on the last point, as you know, on that last one where it was the 4 contacts, it was O'Malley tried to go for the kill. It's like he got a fingertip on it before he could get it over, but you know, now New Paltz just 2 points away from the set, and I mean, we've gotten exactly what we expected here, 1 versus 2, about as even as you're going to get.
Spolnick hits the net. Springfield now down by 1.
You know, another area right now in these waning moments of the second set, Springfield has already made 12 service errors in this match. You know, they've given away 12 points to this New Paltz team. You can't afford to give away that many points via error.
Brandau serve out of control. And it's set point for New Paltz.
Now, arguably one of the better servers for this New Paltz team, despite the fact that he is a middle, is Nick O'Malley. You know, he's been at the heart of a couple of big runs.
O'Malley is back to serve, could end it and tie this match. However, it goes out, and
we're going to see Sissoko going back to serve. Another huge spot. You know, he got an ace to end the first set. Now that he's going back behind the service line again, he's trying to keep Springfield in this set.
New Paltz going to call a timeout, talk it over. They're up by 1 here, 24-23 left in set number 2.
You know, almost kind of like icing the kicker in football. You know, you're down by a point, down by 2 points. You're trying to, when you're up, you're trying to ice the kicker. You don't want them. You want them kind of thinking about the serve. But you know, for Sissoko right now, this is a big spot. Springfield down to set point. New Paltz is in the driver's seat receiving the serve. This is where you need that tough serving that, while Springfield has had it at times, 13 service errors in the match. They've had 8 aces, but you know, they've been almost too aggressive at times.
And Kevin, you talked about it as you cannot afford errors, but we've seen them by both teams. And Brendan Brandau, one of Springfield's most dangerous servers, takes one late in the set, number 2 here.
Another thing I've noticed for Springfield, a couple uncharacteristic errors from guys like Brandau and Anderson. You know, they've had pretty clean attempts with no blockers, and they just haven't gotten a great swing on it. So, you know, despite the fact that Springfield down to set point, one big serve from Sissoko and it's a whole new set. Then it's win by 2, and we're going beyond the 25 points. So that all depending on the serve.
Back to serve for the Pride. A lot of pressure. His serve. It's a good one. Played by O'Malley Grace. And that one goes out. We are tied at 24. Sisoku's going to serve again.
You know, right there for number 4. Riley Dolan was going for it. And, you know, that's something you can't afford. You know, he had not a clean attempt, had a blocker there, but right there, he had a lot of space in the court. He just flat out missed it wide. Those are the unforced errors we talked about. There's going to be errors in volleyball. It's the nature of the sport. But it's about not making them at times like that.
Sisoku's second serve in a row is up. Played by Amberge. Grace. And a kill that time. That was by number 18, John Ronan, the sophomore. New Paltz just needs a kill this time, or excuse me, any kind of point. They will take set number 2.
You know, Kark, another very dangerous server for this Hawks team. Kark and O'Malley are the 2 guys you really want behind the service line if you're head coach Radu Petrus.
Kark to serve. Johan plays it. Lily. Anderson with a kill.
Anderson, great job keeping it alive. You know, right there, he kind of just hung in the air, and you know, something that both Anderson and Brandow do so well, especially, is having that ability to place the ball literally wherever they want, and for the most part, do it with consistency and not making errors.
Anderson. Can't get the ace that time, and
another set point for New Paltz. And you know, right there, Anderson came dangerously close to picking that back line. You know, he had the point he wanted, just wasn't able to pick the back corner. Maybe went for a bit too much, especially considering the score of the set.
Dolan. York plays it, and that is the end of set number 2. New Paltz takes it.
We're heading into set number 3, tied up at 1 set apiece.
And we will now send it down to Kevin Gaiss, who is in the crowd with some special fans.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have immersed myself inside the belly of the Pride with the fans. How are we doing?
Let's go!
Obviously an absolutely fire experience, but a smaller story inside every single Springfield College men's volleyball match is this gentleman right here. Christian Janisi, a fellow COSJ member. Janisi, tell me a little bit about the story behind this deal.
So Javi's been passed down for generations of the volleyball team. We live with Johan Musso, who's the only senior on this volleyball team. We're here to support him. We're here to support Javi. We're here to support the volleyball team, baby.
Absolutely love to hear it. Kevin, Hayden, we're tossing it back up to you.
Welcome back for set number 3 here from Blake Arena, Springfield College and SUNY New Paltz. 1 versus 2, tied at a set apiece in what's been a highly entertaining 2 sets of volleyball so far. Each team has taken a set. Springfield College took set number 1, 25-23. New Paltz took set number 2, 27-25, and gotten everything you could ask for and more in this volleyball match. Been incredibly entertaining volleyball match.
So we are back here for set number 3.
You know, Hayden, coming into this set, one thing I want to see from Springfield especially, consistency from the service line, because we saw at the start it was a little inconsistent towards the end of the first set. That's what helped win them that set. But, you know, a couple badly timed service errors really cost them in that second set.
Randau, a little too much. Looking for a deflection is Springfield. They can't find it.
Right there, not the start you're looking for if you're Springfield coming out of that, losing a tight second set, trying to regain momentum.
Lily. That time it's deflected, and we are tied at 1. Great play by Jared Anderson.
That's Anderson's 10th kill of the match, as we've seen him do time and time before, leading the way for the Pride. But, you know, for the Pride, they have a lot of very good options, you know, guys like Liam York and Brennan Brandau as well.
Lily, Anderson is able to play it. York's going to just set it over. Kark sets Gaiss. O'Malley, it's going to go out of bounds, and Springfield gets a point.
You know, for O'Malley, that's already his 5th attack error today. He came into the match with 8 the whole season. So, you know, very uncharacteristic of him. Also credit, though, to the Springfield block.
Kark goes off Lily. Topali's in the right spot. Hits the ceiling again. Johan hits it over. Gaiss. Blocked, but it'll go out of bounds.
Yeah, and
we're tied at 2.
Looked like right there Anderson was in decent position. Looked like Topali might have slid over just a little bit late right there. But, no, I think something we've seen done a great job by both teams is keeping plays alive, keeping rallies alive, off the ceiling, off the baskets. I mean, they've been doing a great job. When it seems for certain the point's lost, they're staying in the point, and that's huge because every extra point is going to matter in this match.
Great dig by Johan. However, Brandau's attack is out of bounds, and New Paltz takes the 3-2 lead.
Now Brandau, kind of uncharacteristically quiet as well, just 5 kills and 4 attack errors and 17 attacks. You know, for the Pride, Jared Anderson has been everything they could have wanted with 10 kills, but after that, haven't gotten a whole lot of production from elsewhere.
Gaiss. It's blocked. Topali with a nice play. Brandau hits it over. Nolan. Johan, what a play! It's played by Dolan. Gaiss. O'Malley with the kill.
You know, right now for the Pride, they just seem a little bit out of system. You know, they're not doing a great job receiving the serve, and you know, it's also credit, though, to the New Paltz block. They're making life a lot harder for guys like Brandau and Anderson and York.
Blake Arena, very crowded now. Gaiss is back to serve, and Springfield gets back on the board in set number 3. Brandau. Dolan. Gaiss sets O'Malley with a hard kill. You know, O'Malley really finding his stride here in set number 3, Kevin.
And, you know, for O'Malley, although he has struggled a bit with being a little wild, being uncharacteristically wild with the attack errors, whenever they've needed a big kill, it's seemingly been, after the first set, it's really been O'Malley who's always been there to answer the bell for them.
Spolnick. It's back to serve. Brandau plays it. Lily sets York. Goes off of Spolnick.
You know, right there, York doing a good job. Wasn't in the best position for that kill, but that's what you need to do. Sometimes you need to use the block to get the kill, and, you know, got it off the block, and Spolnick really had no chance once it went off the block.
Sissoko back to serve. Serve is up. It's played by Spolnick. Gaiss sets Kark. It hits Matt Lilly and goes right out. Not much you can do about that one, Kevin.
Yeah, and it seems like this New Paltz offense, one of their strengths really is receiving serves at times. If they're communicating, they're dangerous because, Matt Gaiss is as good of a setter as they come. He could potentially be an All-American setter, and he's been literally, him and number 1 for them, Robert Nolan, their libero, have literally been starters from day 1 at New Paltz.
What a play by Chris Parker off Johan. However, goes off of Parker and out of bounds.
Kind of an unlucky play right there for Springfield. Serve off the net. Looked like Johan was in a pretty good spot to receive it. Kind of just had to dive and stick his hand out, and then Parker made an unbelievable play. But, right now, Springfield trying to regain that momentum that they had from the end of the first set.
Nick O'Malley's back to serve. Server's error. Springfield now down by 2 again. And this is kind of the boost you need here, Kevin. Jared Anderson.
He's the guy they want, but he has to be more consistent. Tonight he's had a couple that he's went for it a little too much.
Anderson's attack hits the net.
And again, we're seeing kind of these uncharacteristic errors. Lilly's done a pretty decent job of putting it in a good spot. Now it's just about execution. I believe it should be 8-5, not 7-6, as the scoreboard reads.
They fixed. Yep, there they go. Where to get that right? Has Kark back to serve now for New Paltz. Great play by Johan. Johan plays it, and it goes into the crowd.
Kark had only a 6th kill. We haven't really called his name much, but, it seems like for Springfield, this is playing out a lot like the first set. In the second half, the second set, they started off with all the momentum, kind of lost as they went. First set, this is very similar to how that set started.
Springfield down 9-5 here. Here in set number 3. So we are tied 1-1 in the first match of the International Hall of Fame Morgan Classic. Charlie Sullivan calling his first time out of the set. Aaron Kark back to serve. Kark serve. Hits the net. Springfield gets a point.
Now with York going back to serve, this is, if you're the Pride, this is where you want to get back in the set. You don't want to play out where you have to play from behind very late in the set. You want to try to regain some momentum, try to maybe go on a run here behind York if he can keep the serve consistent.
York, it's played by Dolan. Dolan hits it over, and they get a point.
Dolan extremely lucky right there. Look like that ball landed right on the line.
Very close.
Showing it's not always about how hard you're going to hit it necessarily, but kind of took a gamble right there. If that goes out, that's pretty bad error for Dolan.
Riley Dolan will go back to serve, maintaining this 4-point lead. He'll hit the net. Springfield gets the point.
right now, Springfield is being given some free points off the New Paltz serve. If you're Springfield, you need to take advantage of those because, you know, New Paltz, well, they've made a fair amount of service errors. You can't rely on those to get you points.
Nolan. It's played by Anderson. Lily sets. Brandow looked very close.
Brandow now, that's his 5th attack error, just 5 kills. You know, he's been trying to find his rhythm, and, you know, he had a very good first set. Since then, haven't really called his name too much.
La Rosa serve. Liam York. Lily sets Anderson, who gets another kill.
No, my time here at Springfield, Jared Anderson might be one of the best I've ever seen in terms of getting kills out of the back row. You know, he doesn't have to be on the front row. He just hits it with such power and precision. He can place it pretty much wherever he wants.
Matt Lilly's serve is out. Springfield down by 4 yet again.
You know, right now, this is why Springfield hasn't been able to get back in the set, is they need consistent serving, and every time it looks like they have a chance to make a run, service error, attack error, they're just not able to string points together consistently.
Much like the first set, as you've been saying, Kevin, which they won. Johan, Lily, Brandow, it's deflected. Gaiss, it's blocked that time, but goes out.
You know,
it's been all New Paltz so far in this third set.
And, you know, Kark did a good job of using the block of Anderson. Anderson slid just a little too late. You know, when you're going up for the block, you want to keep your hands straight, have it go straight down. Kind of like in basketball, hands have to be straight up. If they're off to the side, going side out, it's not usually the best situation for you to be in as a middle blocker.
Gaiss, it's played by York. Lily, Anderson, it's blocked, but played by Johan. Anderson, blocked again. Kark and O'Malley.
Anderson did not get that good of a swing, and that's going to be timeout number 2. And, you know, we talked about it earlier. For Matt Lilly, he's going to have to consistently put the ball in the same spots over and over. And this is for the first time this match. We've really seen him unable to get the ball to where his guys need it to be.
Springfield down by 6 right now in this third set. We're tied at 1. Springfield has had a very tough time here early on in this set.
Yep. New Paltz has done a really good job of taking the crowd back out of the game, much like we saw in that first set. The second set was pretty close throughout, but really until the end of the first set, we didn't hear the crowd much at all because they didn't really have a reason to cheer, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Charlie Sullivan trying to inspire his team here.
One thing I noticed, Charlie Sullivan, regardless of who calls the timeout, he will use almost every last second of every timeout. It doesn't matter if it's his team calling it or the opposing team calls it because they're trying to end momentum. He will use every last second, and, you know, every timeout, regardless of the score, he sees it as a teaching moment. And right there, you know, before he even talked to the rest of his team, had a pretty good conversation with Matt Lilly.
Matthew Grace's serve. Johan plays it. Lily serves Brandow, and it's too much. They want a deflection. They're not going to get it.
Right now, Brandow just seemingly struggling, finding his rhythm. And, you know, right now,
Matthew Gaiss to serve again. Johan plays it. Lily can't make a play.
Yep.
Springfield now down by 8.
And it looked like right there, Lily, all he really could do right there was the one-handed serve until Pauly probably thought it was going to be a standard serve. Mistimed his jump, and right now, everything going the way of New Paltz.
Lob serve from Gaiss this time. Lily Brandow, it's played by Nolan. Gaiss, hard kill from O'Malley.
And we're gonna see
Nothing in this third set going Springfield's way.
And we're going to see Justin Brosnan come in, replacing Johan Musa Robles.
Gaiss. Springfield finally gets back on the board.
You know, something that's great with a big crowd here at Blake Arena. Looks like we're seeing some of the fans talking with the New Paltz bench, and I mean, you know, Charlie Sullivan looked like at the end of that last time out had something to say, potentially to head coach Rado Petrus. That was O'Malley, just couldn't get a piece of that. And you know, if you're Springfield, obviously down 7 to a team like New Paltz this late in the set, not the ideal position, but if you're going to make a run, this is the time.
Brandow. Gaiss gonna set Spolnick, and it goes off Johan and out of bounds.
Yeah, Spolnick had a really strong first set. Kind of surprised he wasn't used more in that second set, but we've seen him with now 3 kills in this third. Has been a huge part of why New Paltz has been able to really take control.
Spolnick hits the net. Springfield gets the point right back. They are down by a big margin right now, Kevin.
A big reason why Springfield also struggling in this set. 3 kills, 6 attack errors, hitting a negative 231. Not ideal against the number 1 team in the country. And for the match, Springfield just hitting 185. Both teams have committed 14 attack errors, but New Paltz has 31 kills, Springfield just 24. That's really been the difference here.
Sissoko's serve is a good one. O'Malley with the double hit for 4 hits.
Right there, O'Malley. That's the second time we've seen it where O'Malley has went for the kill, seemingly mistimed his jump, barely got a piece of it, and you know those are the errors that Springfield needs to take advantage of.
And another error. Springfield can get something going here, Kevin. They might be capable of another comeback like we saw in the first set. But
Nico
right now,
O'Malley, that's 8 attack errors in the match. He's matched his season total in this match, but New Paltz still comfortably ahead in this third set.
Spolnick. Hard kill by Aaron Kark. He is a dangerous scorer. We saw it there.
Now, and Aaron Kark hasn't been necessarily featured as much as someone like Nick O'Malley, but seemingly every time they've needed a big kill, Kark or O'Malley have been the guys to go to.
Nick O'Malley. Serve played that time by Parker. Anderson, but it goes off. The block comes back, was going to go out of bounds, but it goes off Matt Lilly.
Great job by Riley Dolan there on the solo block, and kind of unlucky for the Pride. Looked like once again the tape of the net kind of came back to bite them.
We'll see Chris Shanley come in, the sophomore. He will serve.
O'Malley, despite the attack errors, has still been a very, very vital piece of this New Paltz team. Still has 9 kills. He's also been very effective from behind the service line. Kind of surprised they took him out because, I mean, although he had a couple service errors, every time he's went back to serve, he's been a pretty dangerous weapon for them.
Anderson back to serve. It's just going to hit Spolnick.
Spolnick with a bit of a facial right there. I mean, Anderson picked his victim, and I mean, that's about as square of a shot as you're going to take. Anderson also no slouch from behind the service line. I mean, that's coming in fast.
Played by Dolan, set up by Gaiss. Kark. And they said it just picked the back corner.
You know, it seems like seemingly Springfield, since they went down 8, have played much better, but the problem is they went down, going down 8 in a set to the number 1 team in the country. It's not the most effective way.
Matthew Amberge. excuse me, that's Aaron Kark back to serve. Hits the net, but Brandow will play it. Parker with a good kill. Good play by Nolan. Anderson. Lilly going to set Brandow. Good play by Nolan that time.
Unbelievable dig right there for the Hawks.
Brandow with a kill.
Yep. And for Springfield, still down 5. Not super likely they're going to be able to come back, but if you can get someone like Brennan Brandow going, regardless of how this third set turns out, that's the guy you need to get going.
Liam York's going to go back to serve now, the first year.
York, much like we've seen throughout the season, still searching for consistency in his game.
Good serve. Spolnick's going to play it. Gaiss blocked that time by Parker and Brandow.
That one by Ronan didn't even look like it made it over the net. It was straight into the net. That was a good job. You know, it seems like for Ronan, whenever they've stacked 2 guys on him, he's seemed pretty error prone. Now you see Tevin Skeet, someone who was a starter on this New Paltz team last year that won a national championship, is a senior and has played a significant amount. So even when you take out a guy like Ronan, you're putting in another guy who has a ton of big game experience for this Hawks team.
Gaiss gonna set Dolan, but it goes out. Springfield only down by 3 now. York's gonna serve again.
You know, probably a smart timeout by Radu Petrus right there, you know, trying to settle his team down. But, you know, right now, this is the first time Springfield has had anything positive go their way this set, you know, outside of it being maybe 2-2 early on. There hasn't been much that went their way, but it seems like since that second timeout, you know, they let New Paltz get a few more points, but since then, the block has seemed better. You know, it seems like they're receiving serve better, and if they receive serve better, it takes a lot less pressure off it takes a lot of pressure off Matt Lilly because he knows the ball is going to be there for him to set. Then it's just about him hitting his spots and setting it to the right places.
Absolutely. Springfield only down 3. New Paltz forced to call a timeout. We are back here after the timeout called by New Paltz. They lead 21-18 here in set number 3.
You know, the way they've gotten back into the set, you know, the middle blockers and outside hitters have seemingly communicated a lot better because, you know, what's really helped New Paltz is they've had a lot of open looks at getting kills, but also they're going to still need the consistency behind the service line from York especially.
York played by Spolnick. Great block that time. Gaiss is going to set up Kark. Goes off of Chris Parker and Brennan Brandow.
It's a great kill by Kark. He had 2 guys there, was still able to adjust and get the kill.
Back to serve now is number 4, Riley Dolan.
You know, this is the point for the Pride. If they want to get back in this set, it's now or never.
Late in set number 3. Brosnan makes a great play. Brandow's attack gets hit, and now New Paltz is 2 points away from taking set number 3 and a lead here in this match.
Now Brennan Brandow's struggles continue. 6 kills, 7 attack errors. You know, something we haven't seen in a while as well. Seeing Liam York get set the ball. He's kind of been a no factor in this set.
Brosnan. Parker with a fake. And Springfield will get a point that time.
That was off the block. So New Paltz gets set point, and I mean, right there, this was a good job by Parker just to get the ball over. You know, set wasn't exactly where he thought it would be. He was able to get it over. Went off the block, it appeared.
Dolan, and it goes out.
Great play by our own Brody Still, showing the good hands right there down on the baseline.
New Paltz is going to call their second timeout of the third set.
You know, Hayden, as we hit the final timeout of this third set, one thing I loved about this match is, regardless of the way it's been going, the crowd has been super involved on every point, and you know, it almost has kind of that energy of a game you could see in April at Loras College in Iowa for the potentially the national championship. I mean, it's been live or die on every single point, and you know, even when Springfield this set was struggling, the Springfield crowd has done a good job staying behind them, and you know, for Springfield not looking great right now, but even if they are unable to take this third set, the one advantage they have, it is Blake Arena. They have their home crowd, and I mean, this New Paltz team also has been very impressive, though. You know, they lost the first set, were able to come back, win the second, and I mean, they've shown why they're the #1 team in the country, what their senior leadership has done in this third set.
Absolutely, they have dominated this third set. Set number 2 is pretty even, but they grabbed it at the end there. They look to do the same thing here in set number 3.
One thing really killing Springfield, hitting just 150 in the match. New Paltz just 236, and the block has been there for Springfield, but the problem is the attack errors for Springfield really mounted in this set. Just 4 kills, 8 attack errors, and it's good for a -211 hitting percentage. Not ideal if you're Springfield.
Parker's serve. And that is the set. New Paltz takes it. They now lead 2-1 here in this match. Set number 4, we will be back in just a moment.
Visit the concession stand located under the main scoreboard. The concession stand is serving up some delicious snacks and some good drinks, so make sure you check it out. Also, don't forget that there is a merchandise tent being sponsored by the International Volleyball Hall of Fame that is just next to the snack shack.
And we are back here for set number 4 between the Springfield College Pride and the SUNY New Paltz Hawks. New Paltz being number 1 in the country in Division 3, while Springfield is number 2. As New Paltz takes the lead 2-1 after they won that last set. Springfield took the first set, and New Paltz took 2. Springfield looking to force a 5th set here. I'm Hayden Choate alongside Kevin Saxe. And been an interesting match so far. Set number 1. Springfield could not find anything at all going for them. However, they come back and take it from New Paltz. Set number 2, pretty even, a little bit more Springfield controlled, but New Paltz snagged that set. And then the last set was all New Paltz, and they executed and finished and now have a 2-1 lead. Kevin, what does Springfield have to do to get back into this?
Yeah, I think for Springfield, it's just it's consistency. Last set, 4 kills, 8 attack errors on 19 attacks. For New Paltz, those numbers were 15 kills, 6 errors, 28 attacks. So New Paltz wasn't as efficient as they might be used to with the errors, but Springfield was even worse than them, and they hit a negative percentage. That's not going to win you a set against the number 1 team in the country. But, this is almost eerily reminiscent of last year's national semifinal, where Springfield and New Paltz put the first 2 sets, and then New Paltz kind of flexed their muscles just a bit. But one thing that semifinal did not have was the atmosphere that has been created in Blake Arena tonight.
Absolutely. We've had a great crowd so far. We'll see if it continues for set number 4 here on the James Naismith court. Sissoko back to serve. First serve is an error.
For Springfield, another thing that really has hurt them, that's now 16 service errors. And, same as an attack error, you're giving away free points, and you really can't afford to do that against a team like New Paltz. We said they are number 1 for a reason, and, they're playing hungry volleyball right now. They seem to be seemingly a little upset about the fact that they lost their last game.
Kark. La Rosa gets it over. Brosnan. Parker with a good kill.
That was a really nice find right there by Willie. Parker in the middle. Didn't even need to have a huge thunderous kill like we've seen in the past. He just placed it perfectly, showing that it's not always about how hard you hit it, because you hit it as hard. We saw it happen a number of times for Springfield, just hitting it wide, hitting it long.
Anderson back to serve. Played by Spolnick. Matthew Gaiss. That's a great play.
And, that Gaiss with a nice job. Knew he was close to the net, very tight to the net, and probably was going to have a tough time serving it. Took it himself. And the one thing that's tough with those, though, is if you're a middle blocker or someone on the front row, you're not expecting it.
Matthew Gaiss with the serve. York. Lilly sets Anderson. Kark plays it back to Gaiss. Gaiss going to set Spolnick. Can't get the play. Kind of like a spinorama. Goes out of bounds.
Spolnick right there, trying to pull like a little bit of what Steven Topali did in that second set, kind of the overhead, no-look type of kill, but right there, went over the antenna. And for Springfield, the only set we've really seen them jump out and play well from the start is set number 2, and that's the set they lost 27-25. This is their opportunity to kind of take control early and try to force a 5th set here.
A good kill that time by Nick O'Malley.
O'Malley now with 10 kills, does have those 8 attack errors, but seemingly when they've needed points the most, it's been either him or Kark, as well as Brand Sputnik, who's had a very efficient match. 9 kills, just 2 attack errors.
Spolnick hits the net. Brosnan plays it. Lilly sets Parker.
gotta wonder, will the Pride try to use Parker as an attacking option? You know, Stephen Topali more known for his blocking ability in the middle, but having someone like Parker can do a little bit of both.
Server's error that time by Parker.
You know, as the errors mount up for Springfield, you know, the timing just seems like every time Springfield has even a little bit of momentum these last couple of sets, they make some type of error.
Nico O'Malley's back to serve now for New Paltz. Played by York, Lilly. Anderson, good play by O'Malley. Brosnan is advised not to play it. He doesn't, and Springfield gets a point.
You know, that's an underrated play right there by Brosnan. You know, if he plays that, you know, Springfield's a little out of system. You're letting New Paltz have a little bit of time to set up their block, but right there makes a smart play, doesn't play it. Gets Springfield the point.
Springfield gets the point.
No, and right there, trying to go to Tevin Skeet out of the middle, and you know, got to think that one of the great things that New Paltz has done is both O'Malley and also number 18, John Ronan, have done a great job out of the middle, but they're not getting that right now. And now we see one attack error, one block by Springfield, and this is as loud as we've heard Blake probably since the end of that second set.
Lilly serve again. Spolnick, Gaiss sets up Kark. Good play by York. Johan, it goes over. Crowd wants a call, not going to get it. Great play by Lilly. Anderson over to Brandow. Johan keeps it in play. Brandow with the kill. Blake Arena explodes.
An unbelievable point from Springfield, including, it looked like Stephen Topali went off possibly the back of his head, didn't even realize where the ball was, like, oh boy, I got to get back in this point. And, you know, that was a huge play by Springfield right there. Get the kill.
Kark with the kill, but
Kark, that was a good job by Kark, though. Stop the momentum at least a bit for Springfield. But this is the time, if you're Springfield, where you need to extend the lead, because if you don't, you know this New Paltz team is going to come right back and try to punch you in the face.
something to not go unnoticed there, Kevin, was the good, consistent serves of Matt Lilly. Brosnan, Lilly to Pauly, Spolnick, Dolan, Brosnan. Brandow with another kill, but it's going to go to New Paltz. That one was out of bounds, excuse me.
You know, it seems like they're going for just a bit too much. He had a lot of space and just missed on the kill again. You know, if the Pride are going to win this match, they're going to need Brendan Brandow to get going, and he's really not found a rhythm outside of the first set.
Kark, and it goes out. Brandon Brandow back to serve now for the Pride. Serve just a little too much. Riley Dolan will serve now for New Paltz.
For Springfield now, 18 service errors on the match, and you know, this is a time where if they can extend the lead, they could possibly ride momentum to this set, but seems like every time they've had a chance, the common theme has been service errors or some type of error.
Springfield gets a point there. Sissoko will serve now for the Pride.
You know, as we see Sissoko come in, I think one of the most underrated parts of this game has been the play of Stephen Topali. You know, he's not someone who, coming into the season, had played a whole ton of volleyball here for Springfield College, but in arguably the biggest match of his career where he's getting the starting assignment, he's done a pretty good job at that second middle spot.
Great play by Lilly. Anderson sets it over to York. York's just going to have to hit it over the net. Dolan, Gaiss sets Kark, goes out of bounds. Crowd loves it.
And, you know, right there again, seems like New Paltz for whatever reason, even though they are up 2-1, almost going for it too much. Kind of surprised to see that because, you know, it was Springfield who kind of lost their composure a bit, especially in that third set. Right now, it's seemingly New Paltz is one having trouble dealing with the pressure of the match.
No play can be made. Sisoku's serve was a good one. New Paltz has got to take a timeout now.
Smart timeout there by Petrus. You know, he can sense this second set. The momentum starting to sway towards Springfield, but we haven't seen Springfield play this good of volleyball since probably the middle to the end of the first set. You know, even in the second set, they played well at times, but, you know, a couple errors here and there really cost them. And the third set, it's one that Charlie Sullivan probably will hope to never see again from the Springfield College team. But, you know, Charlie Sullivan, not only a coach but an educator as well, and the way he likes to see things, everything that happens is a teaching moment, whether it be good or bad. And right now, Springfield doing an unbelievable job. You know, seems like instead of wilting under the pressure of being down 2-1, up to this point in the set, it's New Paltz that's having a hard time facing the pressure.
Absolutely is.
You know, Springfield doing also a better job not committing as many attack errors, just 5 kills, just 1 attack error on 10 attacks for New Paltz, although they do have 3 kills, also 4 attack errors. And, you know, the block of Springfield as well, guys like Topali, Parker, as well as your outsides. I mean, you know, it seems like Springfield almost has a new energy. You know, it seems like that third set, nothing went well. Seem to have come out with a little more energy for this fourth set.
Sissoko will serve again. Like you said, even though it was not his own timeout, Charlie Sullivan used all of it.
It's a very common theme that you're going to see from Charlie Sullivan. Likes to use every second of the timeout.
Soko's serve played by Nolan. And Skeets hits it out.
And here we go. I talked about it a little bit ago. John Ronan's going to replace Tevin Skeet. You know, Skeet got a pretty nice setup from Matt Grace, but, you know, Skeet was just almost seemed like he felt the noise of the block and just hit it long.
Brandow, Lilly, sets Parker, Grace, Nolan, Kark, Sissoko sets up Lilly. Lily's going to set Brandow with a great kill. That goes off Robert Nolan into the crowd.
The crowd is unbelievably excited right now. Springfield up 13-7. Brennan Brandow, one of the more explosive kills of the night, and seemingly Springfield has gained some momentum in this set, and really now for Springfield it's going to be being able to keep this momentum all the way through, not letting New Paltz back in. And number 4, Riley Dolan, struggling the last couple serves on the reception, so now number 17, Chris Shanley, is going to come in for New Paltz.
Sissoko, played by Nolan, Grace, blocked by Anderson. Grace gives to Nolan. Anderson plays it off the Parker block. Lilly. And it goes to New Paltz.
Not the best serve by Matt Lilly, but 13-8 still, and what's been very exciting set. And, you know, for the first time really since the first set and towards the end of the second set, the crowd is into it. You know, the crowd's been going crazy for literally every point, but in the third set it was kind of very few and far between. This set seemingly living and dying on every point.
Brosnan, Lilly sets York, Grace. O'Malley's blocked by Parker. Good kill that time. I believe that was by number 17, Chris Shanley.
Looked like it was Spolnick who got the kill, even to double digits. And, you know, New Paltz has won the last couple points. This is the moment where you can't, if you're Springfield, you can't allow them back into the set. You don't want to give them any chance
La
of
Rosa,
even believing.
Brandow, Lilly, Anderson. Great kill by Jared Anderson, who will go back to serve.
Anderson, as good as they come in terms of getting it through the block. Has such power, but also knows exactly where to put it between the block.
Anderson, played by Spolnick. Gaiss gonna set up Kark. Johan with a great dig. Lily makes a great play. Anderson hits it over. Gaiss, it's blocked. Still in play off Spolnick. Gaiss, Spolnick, it goes out.
Unbelievable point for Springfield. And the crowd is going insane right now. Matt Lilly might have just made the play of the year. Goes diving over the scorer's table to save that point. Unbelievable.
Kevin, I'll tell you one thing. As Jared Anderson looked very close to getting an ace there.
If Anderson gets the ace, this play, it exploded on the last point. Might have went even crazier, but unbelievable effort from this Pride team right now. They're not going down without a fight, and Matt Lilly, unbelievable save.
And President Mary Beth Cooper in attendance to see that here on tap. And a server's there. Kevin, let me tell you something. Last week during the tri-match, it was the first match between Springfield and SUNY Poly, and Matt Lilly did just that.
Yep.
And I said to him, that was crazy. And he said, you know what, I'm going to go back and watch it. He might have studied himself doing that in order to do it again.
You know, that time he did a good job not knocking over the computer or the microphone that time. You know, maybe learn, adjusted the form just a bit.
And Spolnick.
Good kill by Spolnick right there. And also nice to see President Mary Beth Cooper in the house. Not just President Cooper in the house, but also talking to Springfield College men's volleyball alum Tucker Evans, who was a senior 2 years ago on the second of back-to-back national championship teams. He was kind of in the same role as Aston Sissoko is this year, was an unbelievable server, a guy who could pretty much do anything for Coach Charlie Sullivan, even if his role was a little smaller than some of the known guys.
Jared Anderson with a great kill. Chris Parker will serve now for the Pride. Played by Nolan. O'Malley, good dig by Anderson. Brandow, played by Spolnick. Lilly sets to Poley. Poley goes back to Anderson. Anderson hits the net. O'Malley, York plays it. Lilly, back to Anderson. Spolnick plays it. Kark has to get it over. York, Lilly, Brandow, it's blocked. Almost played, still in play, Matthew Gaiss. Lilly plays it. Parker sets Brandow, who gets a kill. And Blake Arena goes nuts.
And it seems like every 50-50 ball that did not go Springfield's way in that last set, everything going right for Springfield, and the crowd is loving it here at Blake Arena.
New Paltz has to call a timeout here. This is pandemonium here at Blake Arena, Kevin.
You know, a lot of schools, you don't see the men's volleyball teams getting support like this. The Springfield College students have turned out in droves tonight. The $1 didn't matter. There's a lot of dollar bills probably handed out or student IDs given for this match tonight. And I mean, it's been unbelievable. Even in the third set when Springfield was struggling, every point this crowd was behind them. And I mean, they're giving them a reason to go crazy right now.
And this is something that Brandon Brandow, definitely not Jared Anderson and Liam York, but maybe Brandon Brandow as well, has not played in, and that is a packed Blake Arena.
You know, last year, Brendan Brandow was an unbelievable player, but, you know, he struggled at times tonight, but when the team has needed him this set, he's had a couple of huge kills, and, I mean, we're seeing unbelievable saves, not just from Matt Lilly and Johan Musa Robles, but we're seeing saves from guys like Stephen Topoli, Chris Parker, guys who are middle blockers, back to serve, forced to play in the back row for a point. I mean, Blake Arena has shown their appreciation right now as, I mean, we've seen this set you know, there's been some people who have left, not as full as it was to start, but I would argue it is louder now than it was when Springfield won the first set.
Absolutely, Kevin.
You know, this crowd's really trying to will this team to a set 4 win and get a winner-take-all 5th set, which if Springfield wins the match, pandemonium might ensue, and then they have to get ready for tomorrow.
Chris Parker, Spolnick plays it. Nolan, Dolan, Anderson, Parker is going to get it over. O'Malley, Gaiss sets up. Kark, good kill by Kark.
Right there we see why Chris Parker is a middle blocker and not a defensive specialist or a libero, but you know, Parker even still has made a couple unreal saves. Probably no better save than the Matt Lilly over the scorer's table for the 2nd time in a matter of 6 days. But you know, if you're New Paltz, though, this is the time you have to get back in the set because Springfield is 7 points away from winning set number 4.
O'Malley's serve. Lily Brandow. Brennan Brandow becoming alive late in this match. They've needed him.
You know, the second match of today, which is actually a very good matchup as well, number 6 Riviere against number 12 Stevenson, was scheduled to start at 8 o'clock, Hayden. It's 7:59. I don't think we're getting that match right at 8.
Brandon Brandow with a hard kill. However, they will say that it was over the net.
Looked like they called a net violation on Brandow. That's a tough call right there. Head coach Charlie Sullivan not all that pleased with the up official. However, for Springfield, this is where you can't let an error like that affect the way you're playing. Still up by 6 in the set.
Kark, Brosnan, Lily, Brandow goes out. New Paltz coming out of their timeout with some new life here in set number 4. They are leading 2-1.
Still down by 5, but you don't. If you're Springfield, you don't want to give this New Paltz team any belief that they have a chance to win the set because, like we said before, you're not number 1 in the country for a reason. I mean, they very much have earned that billing, and even coming off their first loss of the season, it's been a very impressive team to watch. We're going to see number 5, Cam Clark, and number 6, Tim Drake. Both sophomores come in. They're going to replace Aaron Kark and Matt Gaiss. So, interesting subs here from Radu Petrus. Maybe trying to give his guys a break, but the way New Paltz has played at times, the set's still seemingly with pretty much in reach. It's obviously not as likely, but kind of surprised to see arguably 2 of your top players come out at a point in the set.
Brandow will serve now for the Pride. It's played to Pauly with the great play.
Now we're going to see, looks like a new libero potentially coming in, number 12, Brian Kaplan, also a sophomore. Took off his warm-up. Don't know if he's going to be coming in, but now we're going to see number 17, Chris Shanley, in as well. So, you know, it could be Radu Petrus trying to get his guys some rest. Now Kaplan does come in, probably just 4 points away from taking set number 5. Excuse me, set number 4 to try to fourth a decisive 5th set.
Brandow. It's played that time by Parker. It's blocked. Drake. Shanley gets it over. Johan, Lily, Brandow with the kill.
Right now, everything going the way of the Pride, 22-14. Brandow's going to go back to serve yet again. Just 3 points away from forcing a 5th set in what's been.
Brandow.
You know, I know it's early in the season, but I would venture to say this could be one of the matches of the year so far.
Absolutely, and we knew that coming in, and we knew that just by the first set, Kevin.
You know, the first 2 sets were extremely close, and set 3, the way it played out for New Paltz, kind of dominating. Very similar to the way set 4 has played out for Springfield, the way they've been able to dominate.
Chris Shanley, Brandow, Lily over to York. Liam York with a great kill.
You know, York hasn't seen as much action. Jared Anderson and Brennan Brandow have been set 31 times. York just 11, but if the Pride are going to win this match, you got to think Liam York, if he can get it going, that's just one more weapon for this Pride team.
Asin Sissoko. Back now. It's played. Clark. And Amberge. Springfield 1 point away from tying the match and sending it into a 5th set. Sissoko serves now. Played by Amberge. Clark sets Amberge. Springfield wins set number 4.
And we are going 5 from Blake Arena tonight in what's already been an unbelievable match. I really could think of no better way for this match to go than go all the way to 5 sets.
Awesome. And it'll be an exciting finish. Springfield takes set number 4, 25-15. And we will be right back with set number 5. But now we send it down to Kevin Gaiss on the court.
All right, and we are back between the 4th and 5th set. With me, Dan Van Horn, class of 1992. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. So what brings you home?
So I have 2 daughters here. Friendly with Charlie Sullivan. He's a classmate of mine here back at Springfield. So we try to get up as often as we can to support all the sports. And what a great, great match here today. You can't ask for 4 better games. So really looking to watch on the 5th. It's great to be back home.
Yeah. You gotta love when you hit 5 sets in volleyball. It's always more fun.
Always
more fun. Now, I understand, volleyball's been big at Springfield College for a long time. So what was the energy like back then?
Probably not as built out as this, but we had a really good crowd for each of the games. Right. Coach Deering was wonderful. The men's and the women's program were terrific. So we got out to as many games to cheer them on as we could.
Love it. All right, once again, Kevin Gaiss, Dan Van Horn, thank you so much for coming on.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Kevin, Hayden, back to you.
On Sunday, women's gymnastics host Ithaca and New Sinus at 1 o'clock. On Wednesday, women's basketball will host WPI at 7 o'clock p.m. On Friday, men's volleyball will host Johnson & Wales at 7 o'clock p.m. On Saturday, men's basketball will square off with MIT at 1 o'clock, and wrestling will host WPI at 7 p.m. And next Saturday, the 16th, men's gymnastics will host Temple and the University of Washington. Make sure to check out the full list of events at SpringfieldCollegePride.com.
We are back here at Blake Arena for set number 5.
Hayden, a little different than sets 1 through 4. Only to 15, you have to win by 2, and for Springfield, doesn't necessarily favor them as much because we've seen the only set they really started strong was the 2nd set. So, I mean, it's been an unbelievable atmosphere all night in Blake Arena. Expect nothing less in this decisive 5th set. And what I'm going to say it now, this is my hot take for the night. Unless another team can prove me wrong, I don't see how it's not a possibility that these 2 teams could be squaring off for another national championship. It's not out of the reason to think. I mean, we've seen both teams play well, seen both teams struggle, but I mean, it's been a pretty evenly match across the board. Also, tomorrow night, the loser of this match plays the loser of Riviere and Stevenson in the consolation match at 6. And then the winner of this match plays in the championship game at 8 against the winner of tonight's 2nd match. whichever match Springfield is in, SCTV3 will have you covered. So I would highly recommend tuning in. Riviere number 6, Stevenson number 12 as well. I mean, it's two very good teams. I mean, this is usually in this event, there's always been a couple highly ranked teams. Across the board, this is a stacked field and one of the premier D3 volleyball events of the year.
La Rosa, played by Brosnan. Lily sets Anderson. Anderson with the kill.
Looks like New Paltz arguing a lift right there. And one of the hardest things to do is kind of pull off that one-handed one-handed set. Looked like Lily was able to do it to perfection, as looked like the call that New Paltz wanted was either a lift or a carry. They don't get it. Now 1-0 Springfield in winner take all 5th set.
Sissoku's going to serve now for the Pride.
In a set that goes 2-15, this is the time where you need a strong service run from guys like Sissoko.
And an ace for Sissoko.
Sissoko picks the back corner. Couldn't do it any better than that. I mean, deep in the had the guys kind of moved up a little bit, maybe expecting him to try to go a little shorter on the serve. Wouldn't be surprised, maybe try to go short here with 4 guys playing in the back.
He'll serve again. It's played this time by Spolnick. Spolnick hits the official, so that one is out. And Springfield starting well early.
You know, right now for Springfield, up 3-0. Now it's just about maintaining this level of play, because this to me would be a statement win for this very young Springfield College team. This is a statement. They are going toe-to-toe with the consensus #1 team in the country.
Sissoko. It goes off the hands of Riley Dolan. Aston Sissoko. New Paltz has got to take a timeout.
This crowd is loving it in Blake Arena. Aston Sissoko, time and time again, with the exception of 1 or 2 service errors here and there, he's been unbelievable from the service line, and that's what they need. He, to me, is, from my first 2 years here at Springfield, now being a senior, is what Tucker Evans was for the Springfield team. Obviously before your time, Hayden, but Tucker Evans was a guy you could bring in for anybody. If someone's struggling to serve, or you had a guy who wasn't really that good at serving, you would bring him in for reasons like this. You would bring him in knowing not only does he have a good, powerful serve, but more often than not, he's as consistent as they come, and Sissoko doing what he has to do to help this Pride team win. Also fitting that Tucker Evans is in attendance. Arguably, Charlie Sullivan always talked about when he was here how great of a player he was, because when he wasn't in, he was doing the little things to help his team get better. And the designated server isn't the most savory position in volleyball. You're not going to get a whole lot of love, but Aston Sissoko showing why it's so important right now.
Sissoko will serve again.
Sissoko also now in this match up to 5 service aces, so he's been not only effective in making it tougher to receive, but also he's finding holes in this SUNY New Paltz defense.
It's played by Spolnick. Grace sets Kark. Lily gets it over. Nolan, Grace, Malley, Lily. Into the ceiling by Dolan.
Looked like that ball might have been going
Nolan,
out.
Lily, Sissoko sets Anderson. Anderson put just a little too much on it, and New Paltz is going to get their first points of the set.
Was dangerously close right there to getting a piece of the block. Looked like he just missed the fingertips, I believe, of either number 19, Nico Malley, or number 13, Brendan Spolnick. But right now for the Pride up 4-1, this is where serve reception is vital to the team. You can't afford to give back any points to a New Paltz team that we know is as good as they get.
Matthew Grace, the serve. Played by Liam York. Lily, Anderson. It's blocked and goes out of bounds. And Anderson will go back to serve now.
Pride leading 5-1, and this is the spot you want to be in, especially in the 5th set.
And that time, no play can be made. Anderson will serve again.
New Paltz coming off a 5-set loss. They're trying to exercise those demons from that first loss of the year that they took to Vassar.
O'Malley, it's blocked by Chris Parker and Liam York.
Parker and York said not today. Springfield leading 7-1, and the loudest crowd reaction to me of the day just happened, and this crowd is going insane. Hayden, I think the best word to describe this is electric. The atmosphere is electric right now, and as bad as that 3rd set was, Springfield responded in the 4th set, and now they've come out and flat out dominated, leading 7-1. Yeah.
And everyone is getting their money's worth tonight. As New Paltz calling another timeout. Springfield up 7-1.
Hayden, with Anderson going back to serve, Pride leading 7-1. I mean, especially in a set that's to 15, win by 2. The Pride are in the driver's seat right now, and you know what? One of my favorite parts of a Springfield College men's volleyball game is the bench. We haven't talked that much about them tonight. They are always entertaining to watch. Brian Stewart, I feel like he's kind of taking on the role of the ringleader of that bench unit.
Anderson's serve is a little too much. New Paltz gets their 2nd point of the match, and Spolnick will go back to serve now.
I will say, though, one of the big guys today for New Paltz has been Brendan Spolnick, someone who's been inconsistent to start this year, the sophomore. But he's had a very good match when other guys you'd expect to be more consistent really haven't been.
Brosnan with a great dig. Liam York goes off of the New Paltz block.
Now, at this point, at the 8-point mark for one team, they're going to switch sides. Springfield leading 8-2 at the change. This is going about as well as I think Springfield could have wanted this 5th set to go so far. And I mean, the crowd is letting them hear it. Brian Stewart trying to get the crowd on their feet. And I mean, why not? This has been an unbelievable match, and Springfield is in control right now.
Liam York going to serve now for the Pride. Blake Arena, which is decked out in white.
Liam York, despite the 3 service errors, also has 2 service aces and has done a really good job of serving tough. But like we mentioned at the beginning, it's also about consistency, and that's something that Liam York has struggled with this year, but still been key contributor. Also doing a great job on the block for the Springfield team. Now 8-3. This is the point where Springfield needs to try to hold that momentum.
Nico O'Malley. Back to serve. Played by Brosnan. Lilly sets Anderson. Good dig that time by Gaiss. Kark gets a kill.
It's a big kill by Kark. Dangerously close on that setup to a double contact. Like the Springfield bench wanted it. No call though. 8-4. That was a huge kill by Kark as New Paltz tries to get their way back into the 5th set.
Nico O'Malley back to serve for New Paltz. Played by Brosnan. Lilly. Oh my gosh, what a play. Brandow, it's a little too much.
This is the dangerous time for Springfield now. It's now 8-5. New Paltz has won the last 3 points, and that was a great job in the middle by Ronan to get a hand on Parker's shot.
O'Malley will serve again for a 3rd time. Brandow, Lilly sets Brandow, and he gets it in. That's an important point right there, Kevin.
Brennan Brandow picked his spot in the back corner, and unbelievable kill. You know, he hasn't had his best night, has put up some impressive numbers in kills. He's made some uncharacteristic errors, but it seems like these last couple sets when the Pride have needed him, he's been able to come through more often than not.
Chris Parker's serve does not get over the net.
With Clark going back to serve for New Paltz, he leads them with 13 kills tonight. He's been every bit as impressive as living up to his billing.
Yeah, he had a slow start, but he has shown up in a big way. Lilly, Brandow with the kill. Brandow now has 12 kills, and Matt Lilly will go back to serve. Lilly serve, played by Nolan. Kark, good kill off of York.
Kark came flying out of the back row. Something we've seen a lot of from guys like Brennan Brandow, but Kark also very good at when he gets the ball served to his spot, he's as good as they come in the country finishing those off.
Yeah, we have Riley Dolan gonna serve. Serve is up, played by Brosnan, set by Lilly. Anderson, it's played that time by Nolan. Anderson, Brandow, sets Anderson. Gaiss sets up Spolnick, it's blocked. Gaiss, Spolnick again. York, Lilly, sets Brandow. It's kept in by Ronan. Gaiss, Spolnick, played by York. Lilly sets Brandow again. It's blocked again. Nolan, Gaiss, Spolnick, blocked again by Brandow and Topoli.
And Dolan, like a clear double contact right there. The ref did not call it. Pride bench incensed. And Anderson, unbelievable kill.
It was back and forth. It was getting kind of stagnant. And Jared Anderson says, hey, there's some space, and picks the back corner.
You know, Anderson wasn't even straight up to the ball. He's kind of falling off the court almost. He's able to put it away. Anderson's a special talent for this men's volleyball team.
Nolan plays it. Gaiss sets Spolnick. It's blocked by Jared Anderson.
Huge block by Anderson. The Pride up 12-7. Unbelievable. Jared Anderson, big-time players make big-time plays. Jared Anderson is doing that right now.
Brandow to serve. Played by Nolan. Gaiss, Ronan, Lilly. Brandow sets Anderson. Anderson with another kill.
Jared Anderson has said, get on my back, boys. We're carrying this team 2 points away from victory for the Pride.
Brandow with the serve. Nolan. It's played, but goes off of Lilly and Brandow. Back to serve now is Dan LaRosa for New Paltz.
For Springfield, just 2 points away from winning what's been an unbelievable and instant classic from Blake Arena tonight.
Brosnan, Lilly, Anderson gets blocked.
It's a great block right there by O'Malley and number 13, Brendan Spolnick. You know, they stacked the double block on Anderson's side, and they were able to get the point. For Springfield, though, it's only 1 point. They're still up by 4. This is where they need to try to keep the momentum.
LaRosa, it's played by York. Lilly, Anderson, No play can be made.
We're at match point. You know, after the Pride lost that third set, they looked down and out. But all of a sudden now we're getting Aston Sissoko going behind the service line, trying to win this match for Springfield.
Aston Sissoko could win this for the Pride. Blake Arena on their feet. Sissoko, it's played by Spolnick. Grace. Good kill that time by O'Malley. Excuse me, it was a violation.
Looked like a net violation right there. It looked like either York or Parker might have gotten just a little over aggressive right there. But Springfield's still in the driver's seat right now, up 14-10.
Matthew Grace. Back to serve for New Paltz. Played by York. Lilly sets Anderson. Goes out. And they get the deflection. There was a deflection. And Springfield has won.
Unbelievable match. Springfield takes down number one in one of the best matches you will ever see at Blake Arena. Springfield takes it 3-2 in Hayden. Whew. That was an unbelievable match. I don't think there's any more we have to say about it than that.
Craziness for sure. Springfield comes from behind, down 2-1 to win. And now we will send it down to Cam Smith, Kevin Gaiss, and Nico.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome inside the post-game show. Down goes number one. Hey, say it a little louder, why won't you? Down goes number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Gaiss, Cam Smith, Nico Fiscella. Absolutely electric performance here in Blake Arena. Why? We got to talk the Pride first, obviously. Nico, what did the Pride do well?
I mean, they were just, honestly, when they had that lead, it just felt like they couldn't be stopped. When I was talking about momentum earlier, once they had it, they were unbeatable. Right. Simple as that.
And then Cam, they dropped 2 sets in a row.
They did.
And then they come back to take 2. How that
Absolutely.
What was that?
I mean, you got to credit. Hey, So you got to credit Jared Anderson and Brendan Brandow.
Right.
They had 33 kills combined.
Yes.
Jared Anderson with 20, the freshman.
Unbelievable performance, first
But
of all.
one big thing that they do need to work on for next times is the errors. A lot of service errors, and we said at the beginning of the game. And here comes the deer head.
Rub that.
Again, we said it at the beginning of the game. Is they're gonna try to get creative with their serves, so it's gonna bring a lot of errors.
Right.
But 5-set win against the number 1 seed. What more can you say?
Right. Go ahead.
I don't want to congratulate anybody, but I will say I think Blake Arena played a little part in tonight's victory.
They definitely did.
Absolutely. Yeah. Blake
We've
Arena.
seen it all year long is they play off the sound. They
When
play off the voice.
when you try to come to Blake Arena and win, it is such a home court advantage between the low ceiling, the whiteout, the big crowd, the energy, the
deer.
head. Nothing like having Harvey in the building. You have that type of energy, and it is just very, very, very hard to win in Blake Arena. So obviously you have Springfield College, was number 2. Number 2 falls to number 5. Springfield might take the top spot again.
It's possible.
It's
yeah,
very
it's very
possible.
possible.
I mean,
we'll find out next week.
Right.
When you beat the best team, are you the best team?
We'll find out in a week. And that's all we have for the post-game show. Cam Smith, Nico Fiscella, Kevin Gaiss. We're sending it back up to Hayden and Kevin.
An unbelievable match. Thank you guys so much. Springfield College takes it 3-2 Hayden. Another instant classic. Kind of reminds me of the match last year that we did together against Endicott. Springfield came back from 2-0. Not as extreme of a comeback, but Hayden, after that third set, the Pride looked down and out. They answered back in that fourth set, though.
Absolutely, Kevin. That, we talked about, first set, not really great for Springfield. However, they found a way to win. They take it right from New Paltz. Then second set, Springfield played pretty well. However, New Paltz kind of gave them a taste of medicine. They won. Third set was rough. However, fourth and fifth sets went in Springfield's favor.
Definitely, that fifth set, Springfield was able to jump out to the big lead, but every time New Paltz was able to cut the lead to 2 or 3, Springfield had the answer. And not only Jared Anderson, but Brendan Brandow you're going to look at the numbers, not as big as you might expect, but when they needed a big kill, Brandow was there for it. And then Jared Anderson, I mean, there's not enough that can be said about Jared Anderson, what he's meant to the Pride program, but it's going to wrap up tonight's coverage. But stay tuned tomorrow as Springfield College men's basketball takes on Emerson at 3, followed by Springfield College men's volleyball in the championship game of the International Volleyball Hall of Fame Morgan Classic. For Hayden Choate, my name is Kevin Saxe. Have a good evening, everybody.